Now all that's left is dust. I crouch near the remains of some ancient traveling machine, half buried in the shifting dunes. Its frame is twisted, peeled open like a tin can. Coiled wires and shattered glass spill out, scoured by sand. A vicious gash runs the length of its hull, something big having torn through it long ago. I need to work fast. My fingers sift through the sand, fishing out bits of metal and wire. The good stuff, things the settlements will trade for rations or a half-decent bed for the night. I pry a plate free and slip it into my pack. Then the wind dies, leaving the wasteland in an unsettling hush, until I catch the faintest rasp of breath, low and steady. I freeze. Out here, the smallest sound can carry a long way when everything else is dead silent, but this is too close, too real, to be just my imagination. Slowly, I rest a hand on the battered pistol at my thigh, a relic from an era that knew how to make real weapons. The energy cell is nearly spent, but it's better than nothing. I lift my gaze. About 10 paces away, half hidden by a twisted metal husk, stands a figure, a man. He's wrapped in a worn coat, and though his face is shadowed, I know he's watching me. Not a creature. Not a ghost of the old world. Another scavenger. The man steps out from behind the metal husk, cautiously closing the distance. I let the silence stretch, keeping my eyes on him. Didn't think I'd run into anyone all the way out here. His voice is rough, like someone who's been breathing this dust for too long. Not exactly friendly, but not overtly hostile either. That's worse. It means he's thinking. He's carrying a rifle, something crude and slug-throwing, but deadly all the same. His face is concealed behind goggles and a scarf. I don't speak. Out here, words can be as dangerous as bullets. You alone? He asks, stopping a handful of steps away. I wait another beat, then shrug. Wouldn't be out here otherwise? He studies me, then nods at my pack. Find anything good? I tilt my head, keeping my voice even. That depends. You looking to trade, or are we skipping straight to the killing? He chuckles, without any real humor. Depends on what you've got. We watch each other, both waiting for an advantage. The wind gusts, swirling sand around our feet. You're that scavenger, aren't you? He says at last. The one who crosses the Deadlands alone, the one who never stays anywhere long. I don't deny it. He gestures to my pack again. Heard you left Black Hollow with something valuable, more than just old wires. Black Hollow. That was weeks ago. Someone must have seen me study the map there. If he knows about the map, others will too. Killing him won't erase that knowledge. Letting him live could be even worse. His hand drifts toward his rifle. I don't wait. I raise my pistol and fire. My shot cracks through the air, a sliver of blue light tearing at the dust. It hits off-center. My ancient pistol is half dead at best, and grazes his shoulder. He staggers, rifle swinging wide, but doesn't fire back. Not yet. I take my chance. I bolt, sprinting across the dunes toward the husk of some ancient road. My pack thumps against my back, and I hear him curse behind me, struggling to steady his weapon. A shot rings out, slug-based, not energy. I can't tell if he missed or was just warning me off. Either way, I'm not hanging around to find out. I vault a rusted piece of twisted metal and drop low, sucking in quick breaths. He doesn't follow, which means he's smart enough to know a prolonged chase could waste ammo. He'll just find another way, which means I'm out of time. He'll tell someone. One of the warlords, probably. Someone in Black Hollow or beyond. I curse under my breath, pushing onward. The wasteland sprawls, sun-scorched and unforgiving. Still, I know where I need to go. Away. And I don't look back again. I travel for hours at a steady pace, stopping only to sip from my water. The sun bakes the dunes, turning the surface into a shifting sea of heat. Eventually, I reach a broken spine of concrete, one of the old world's roads. It isn't much, but I know the land under it. A safe spot, for a night at least. By the time I get there, the sky is burning red, shadows stretching across the sand like long fingers. I drop down behind a tilted slab of concrete, brushing away piles of sand until I uncover a hatch. Rusted hinges groan as I pry it open. Darkness yawns below. I slide down a short ladder and pull the hatch shut behind me. Stale air closes in, thick with dust. My boots scrape on metal plating as I move along the passage, probably an old maintenance tunnel. No one remembers what it was truly for. I find the alcove where I once stored supplies, a few canisters of water, some ancient rations, enough cloth for a bedroll. I set my pack aside and sink against the cool metal wall. I survived another day. I pull out the map, letting its faint glow flicker across my face. The coordinates remain, pointing to a site far to the east, a place where the old world tried to stave off the end. What am I supposed to do with that? I could ditch it, but I won't. Too many people will kill for it, and that means it must be important. Maybe more than I realize. I close my eyes, exhaustion tugging at me. I'll decide tomorrow. Night settles in fully. The temperature plummets, and the wind above howls through the ruins. I stay awake, my mind turning over the day's events. Then, a faint sound at the entrance. A soft scrape against the hatch, not quite footsteps. My heart thuds. My hand drifts to my pistol. A quiet voice calls out, "Relax! I'm not who you're running from." I brace myself, eyes on the hatch. A figure eases into view, framed by a slice of moonlight. He's thin, wrapped in patchwork leathers and a dusty cloak. His face is rough, but his eyes are sharp. He lifts both hands, palms out. "Easy! I just need a place to hide from the wind." I don't lower the gun. "Who are you?" He hesitates. Jex, just Jex. Been on my own since my last crew got slaughtered by raiders. Found this place by chance." Silence lingers. Eventually, I gesture with my pistol, allowing him to move further inside. "Thanks," he mutters, dropping his pack on the opposite side of the tunnel. "You got a name?" "It doesn't matter." He just nods, as though he's heard that before. We settle into a fragile truce, neither of us wanting more conflict. In a world like this, sometimes that's the closest you get to trust. Silence hangs in the tunnel, heavy and unsettling. Then, somewhere deeper inside, something shifts. A scrape of chitin against metal, like bones dragging across concrete. Jex goes rigid, his knuckles whitening around his gun. Our eyes meet, neither of us daring to speak. The darkness isn't still anymore. A rasping noise, a low, wet click echoing off the walls. Then, a breath. Not human, not even close, something else, deeper, hungrier. Jex lets out a muted curse. "Tell me that's not what I think it is." I don't answer, because I know exactly what it is. A straggler from the old war, one of those that never got sealed away. They still roam the dead places, killing anything that crosses their path. A glint of slick, chitinous plating flickers at the edge of the map's glow. A shape unfolds, limbs scraping against the tunnel walls. Then it moves. Fast. Too fast. I dive aside, just as its claws slice the air where my head was. The metal floor screeches under the force. Jex's gun thunders. The round slams into the creature's flank, but it doesn't even slow down. It shrugs off pain like it's nothing. Unstoppable. No fighting something like that. I grab Jex's arm. "Run!" We tear down the tunnel, boots echoing in the dark. The creature's hiss follows us, a shrill, unnatural sound that scrapes at my nerves. Up ahead, the hatch looms, the outline of moonlight a beacon. Jex rams into it, but it won't budge. I slam my shoulder in, metal grinding against metal, and finally it gives. We tumble into the open night. I spin around, yanking the hatch shut. Something slams into it from the inside, warping the steel, but it holds. For now. Jex breathes hard, hands braced on his knees. "What was that? I've heard the old stories, but I never thought they were true." I glare at the bent hatch. They were supposed to have died out centuries ago. Guess we're not that lucky. We can't stay here. Neither of us speaks as we start running again, the wind biting at our faces. Dawn arrives slowly, staining the sky a bruised purple. Jex and I trudge across the dunes, sweat slick on our skin despite the chill. Neither of us slept. I glance back. The hatch is lost in the distance now. Whatever lurked down there, it's not our problem at the moment. But something else is. Jex nods to a ridge. They found us. I follow his line of sight, figures in the distance, at least 3, maybe more, armed. Warlords' men, the ones who want the map. They're not rushing us, just watching, closing in slowly. They know we can't outrun them forever. But I plan to try anyway. We veer west, looking for any natural cover. The dunes slope downward into a rocky waste littered with rusted beams and crumbling stone. Perfect. Jex glances around. We can set an ambush. I nod. We don't want a full-on fight, just enough to spook them so we can get away. He fishes out his last frag charge, placing it behind a collapsed girder. We arrange some debris to funnel them where we want. Now we wait. They appear soon, 5 men in total, too many to take on fairly. But we stopped playing fair a long time ago. My pulse thuds in my ears. One shot at this. Jex meets my eyes. Let's make it count. The first man steps into range. Jex fires a quick burst, bullets kicking up sand at their feet. They scatter, diving for cover. I take my shot, the energy bolt clipping one in the shoulder. He drops with a curse. Then Jex triggers the frag. Boom! Dust and shrapnel erupt, showering them with debris. It doesn't kill them, but it blinds and disorients them. Go! I yell. We sprint, hearts hammering, gunfire crackles behind us, bullets whining past. My lungs burn with every stride. Then, a choked cry. I turn just as Jex staggers, blood soaking through his side. He's been shot. He drops to his knees. Our eyes lock and there's fear there, raw and desperate. Go, he mouths. I hesitate a heartbeat too long and another volley of bullets slams into the ground near us. Jex shoves me away, lifting his rifle. Damn it, go! I choke back a curse and run. Jex's shots echo behind me, covering my escape. Then he screams, and the sound tears itself off into silence. I don't stop running until my legs nearly give out. The sun is higher now, beating down mercilessly. The dunes blur under the haze of heat. When I finally sink behind a battered slab of metal, I'm shaking. My vision swims. Jex is gone. The men will keep coming, and the map in my pack is still worth dying for. I will myself to stand, forcing one foot in front of the other. Staying put means death. No time to grieve. Hours pass. The dunes transition to hardened earth, cracked and heaving like an old scar. I climb the final slope of a dune and pause. A city sprawls below, or what's left of it. Sunken buildings, half-buried spires of metal and glass. The ground around it is fractured, caved in on itself. It's old, older than most of the skeletons I've seen. Probably one of the great cities from before everything burned. And at its center, I glimpse something. A door, reinforced and partially unearthed by shifting sand. The map flickers. This is where it's been guiding me. I descend into the ruins, adrenaline ticking in my veins. The shattered structures loom, silent witnesses to a lost era. If the old world had a plan to stop the doom, it has to be here. The door is enormous, sealed tight by rust and time. It was never meant to be opened again. But I don't have a choice. I plant a charge along the seam, take a few steps back, and shield my face. Boom! Dust and debris swirl, the echo rolling through the ruins like distant thunder. The door is torn open, edges twisted inward. I slip inside. Stale air grips my lungs. The corridor beyond is lit by flickering emergency lights. Broken consoles and blank screens line the walls, half collapsed in places. Then I see it on the wall. 3 interlocking circles carved into the metal. Below that, someone scrawled, "Do not wake them." I move deeper into the facility, stepping over rubble. The air grows heavier, colder. Finally, I spot a terminal still blinking weakly, powered by the last dregs of some ancient system. I brush away centuries of dust and manage to coax it into displaying a log. A single file is accessible. Final transmission. A man appears on screen, gaunt and terrified, wearing a uniform marked with the same 3 circles. If you're seeing this... His voice trembles. It's already too late. Metal clangs somewhere off-screen. He flinches, eyes darting to the noise. We had a plan, a way to stop them, but we failed. They hear, they learn, The video cuts, replaced by a final line of text. Do not wake them. A chill crawls over me as the screen flickers off. Then I hear it. Movement in the dark. Slow, wet footsteps echoing down the corridor. They're here. They're awake. I kill the terminal's light. My breath sounds too loud in my own ears. The corridors around me groan, as if something massive is shifting beneath the floor. Then I catch a glimpse, a limb, jagged and wrong, sliding through a gap in the wall. They've had ages to adapt down here, sealed away from the world. I see shapes, spined and chitinous, stirring in the gloom. I don't stay for a better look. I run. The corridors twist like a maze. My boots slam on metal, echoing off the walls. Behind me, a shriek tears through the darkness, multiplied as more of them join in. They've remembered how to hunt. I veer around a corner, nearly tripping over a collapsed support beam. The entrance looms ahead, warped, half destroyed by my blast, but open. If I just leave, they'll get out eventually. Spread into the wasteland. Maybe finish what they started ages ago. I can't let that happen. I skid to a stop by the shattered bulkhead. The twisted remains of the door hang crooked, revealing the open sky beyond. I drop my pack, fumbling for my final charge. My hands shake as I yank a power cell from the map's interface, wiring it into the detonator. Crude, but it should work. The corridor shudders. They're close. A limb lashes out from the shadows, scraping across the metal frame. I recoil, nearly dropping the device. No time left. I slam the detonator. Flash. Heat. The explosion roars through the corridor, collapsing the entrance in a thunderous barrage of stone and steel. I'm thrown back, sand billowing in all directions. Then, silence. I cough, blinking grit out of my eyes as I push myself upright. My ears ring and my limbs feel disconnected, but I'm alive. Where the doorway once stood is now a mass of rubble and twisted rebar. No sign of movement from within. I've done it. They're sealed away. For now. I lean my head back, staring at the pre-dawn sky. The cold air stings my lungs. Part of me wonders if the old world tried the same thing, just burying the problem and hoping it never crawls out. Probably. Morning light spreads across the ruins. I stand, shaking off the lingering dust. The map is dead now. I tore out its power cell to fuel the explosion. No more coordinates to follow. But if this facility failed to stop them, maybe the old world tried somewhere else too, other labs, bunkers, or hidden contingencies lost in time. I pull my hood up and shoulder my pack. The wind rasps through the broken city, as if erasing the last trace of what happened here. I turn away from the rubble, thinking of Jex, of the warlords, of the creatures that still roam the dust. Because secrets like this never stay buried for long, and the monsters are always hungry